Welcome to Fajuk Enterprises. As always, I'm your host Fajuk. Who else would I be? Anyways, this is another Deck Tech video. I just wanted to change up my intro for my Deck Tech videos. So here we are. Anyways, enjoy. I could have made an Affinity Artifact deck, but I decided to take another route. This has had some recent additions to it. But anyways, this deck is called Clockbound. Interesting name for an interesting deck. First off, we have the Arcbound Worker. 3 of them. And we have a Clockwork Beetles. The interesting thing about Clockwork is they get small when they attack. Or block. Play a set of them. But with Steel Overseer, you can always make sure they're big. And the interesting thing about Arcbounds is that, well, they transfer their counters when they die. And there's 2 Arcbound Crushers in this deck. And I believe there are 2 Arcbound Fiends in this deck. And then there's the big baddie, Clockwork Dragon. Six for 7, pay 3, you can get more counters. But if he attacks or blocks at the end of combat, we move a +1/+1 counter from him. And I have a full playset of him. Not many full playsets of creatures in this deck, it seems. But, moving on. Bootstar. I do have some affinity cards in this deck, starting with 2 Bootstars and a Mycosynth Golem. If you have a Mycosynth Golem, why not put him in? He's going to be very cheap when you blast him. Those would be all my artifact creatures, and now we move on to my plain old artifacts, starting with Voltaic Key, which untaps artifacts. 1, 2, 3, 4. And since most of the creatures need +1/+1 counters in one way or another, Weapon Rack to get more +1/+1 counters. 2 of them. Contagion Engine to get more +1/+1 counters on stuff. Contagion Engine is which proliferates is the last of my artifacts. Now we move on to instances. The first being Deadly Progress, which proliferates and then drops me a card in that order. Full playset of that. Fuel for the cause. Counter target spell, then proliferate. +1/+1 counters are very important for this deck. And we move on to my enchantments, which include Inexorable Tide. Whenever you cast a spell, proliferate, and there is 2 of them in here. And then we move on to my land. Of course, with Mycosynth Golem and Bootstar, I'm going to have some artifact land in here. Two Ancient Dens. Four Seeds of the Cyanide. Four Vaults of Whispers, and then Islands. 1. 11, 12, 13. With 13 islands and 10 artifact lands, that's 23 lands. Yes, some of my decks have different amount than 22 land in them. My 60 card decks. Anyways, that was Clockbound. See you in the next deck. But don't forget to comment. Comment.